Here's my prediction of why we are even in the Middle East all over again, fighting this Iran conflict, which is often being called a war. Picture this: September 2nd, we begin striking boats off the coast of Venezuela. There's no real explanation given to Congress. There's no authorization of use of military force. Congress doesn't say anything. Cool, bet. Not only that, but literally a couple of months later, we go into Venezuela. We successfully soften targets, going with helos, take out their president, leaving a puppet president of Delcy Rodriguez. Congress says nothing, doesn't authorize military force. Everything seems to be Gucci. On top of all of that, we have different key players in the Western Hemisphere capitulating to us. Folks like Argentina and Colombia's hinting at that. Cuba's hinting at that. Of course, El Salvador. Bet. Starting to feel real good about ourselves. And then we're told by our closest ally that Iran has begun to rebuild their nuclear program and also up their stockpile of ballistic missiles. So I think we believe that we would go in and we would pluck out or take out the supreme leader, similar to what we did in Venezuela, put in the person, or the Iranian people would rise up and put in the person that we found more preferable, and maybe even control some shit, maybe control some oil, maybe control this, maybe control that. But it did not go how we thought it was going to go, because the key difference with Venezuela and Iran is Iran controls the Strait of Hormuz. And that is where I want to talk about today, is that we end day 11 of this conflict, and it seems to be it's going to be drawn out for a good minute. The Iran war is following a pattern seen in a lot of modern wars: Vietnam, Kosovo, Iraq. It doesn't really have like a key objective. No matter how you think about it, Papa Bush, he had permission from Congress, and he had a clear objective. We're going to go into Kuwait. We're going to push Iraq back over the border. Once that's done, the mission's over. That happened. Boom, the war was over. Gulf War was pretty quick. This one is a little bit different. We earned military success, we being Israel and the United States. Then it escalated, whether it was us or it was Iran. Then a widening war no one originally planned for. We did not plan for other states to become involved. We did not plan for any of this type of stuff to happen. And so the biggest thing that I think that we weren't 100% ready for is the escalation trap, the smart bomb trap, the horizontal escalation, which is what we're going in right now, the parallel attack, as well as why air power alone won't topple a regime. That's why I think we're in this for a long while. And if we look at past precedent, I hope that we don't fall into the same examples of the Vietnam, the Kosovos, or even most recently, Iraq with the global war on terrorism. But this video itself, I do want to bring attention to something, because it's very important that we remember that so far reported to us, the Pentagon is reporting that as many as 150 U.S. troops have been wounded so far in the Iran war. And of course, you know, we lost 7 at least right now. I think it's either 7 or 8. I'm going to go lean on the side of caution and go with 8 who have been tragically lost. And what that leads me to believe that these numbers are being underreported, because it took a while. The press secretary said around about 150. What the hell does that mean? Why are you using the roundabout numbers when it comes to troops' lives? But we're also not even thinking about how these people are going to come home. You're going to see on this video, there is a fundraiser going on for the Wounded Warrior Project. I'm trying to raise money for the Wounded Warrior Project. If you donate to that, it goes straight to them. I don't even see that bread. And it's important to me because they've helped me out with resume writing, fitness goals, PTSD treatments, group therapies, men-only sessions. I think it's important that these people that are over there fighting, all of our brothers and sisters that are over there fighting, when they eventually get out of the military, whether they've been activated, if they were a reserve, or if they're full active duty, they eventually retire or separate via honorable discharge, that if they qualify, they can get help from programs like Wounded Warrior Project. So I would hope that if you have the time, the opportunity, that you would consider making a donation to them, because that is incredibly important. So day 10, day 11, what is it looking like? Well, we attack Iran, regional war, global impact. I just kind of summarized that, where this could quickly spiral and go the way of some of those other examples I gave you earlier. War spreads to 14 countries. There's now almost like an oil Armageddon, not even an oil crisis. Iran retains 50% plus of their missiles. They retain all their rich uranium. Regime hardening, not collapsing. They put in the sun. Gas prices are up 20%. Here where I'm at, gas prices are up like 30%. It's crazy how much gas has gone up. And we're just blowing through some of our stockpiles to the point where we're doing stuff where we're moving defensive positions and defensive weaponry from other parts of the world, which we'll talk about here in a second. But what is the commercial industries telling us about what's going on here and how it really, really matters? British Airways cancels all flights to and from Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates, until later this year, and all flights to and from Amman, Jordan, Bahrain, Doha, Qatar, Dubai, and Tel Aviv, Israel, until later this month. This is reported by Sky News. So now we have one of the biggest partners of American Airlines who are trying to get people out of that region, canceling flights because it is just not guaranteed safety. And that's something we have to consider. Not only is it not guaranteed safety for these commercial flights, commercial vessels in the Strait of Hormuz, but we're moving stuff like our THAAD system. We're moving HIMARS. We're moving all sorts of stuff from other countries to the Middle East. South Korea says it cannot stop U.S. forces from redeploying weapons to the Middle East. Well, duh. I know we have agreements in place with the People's Republic of Korea, but how could they stop us from moving weapons that we gave them? I don't even know how that made sense. Okay. We have moved the THAAD systems from Korea to the Middle East. This was so controversial when we put those systems in Korea in 2016. There were so many diplomatic things that had to be talked about with China. They did not want a THAAD system that close to their region. And we had to fight for that from 2016 to 2018. It was just ongoing talks with the Secretary of State and their counterpart with China. We finally made it happen. Now we're taking them out. We're going to have to do that all over again, where we're getting like quasi threats from China of them not wanting us to put that back in there. It was a big thing that we had to do. So what are we going to do to reassure Seoul? I don't think we care right now. I think right now we need to make sure we have the assets in place to take care and protect our people. And so this is what we got to do. But what about protecting like the economic impact? I really want to dive deep on this possible mining of the Strait of Hormuz, because this is extremely, extremely big in my opinion. So first of all, mining can be extremely hazardous to tankers in certain scenarios. Mines can and do move if they break free from their moorings. We also have to think about the current Navy's concept of clearing mines is really hard to do in the Strait of Hormuz. Normally clearing mines, they're not being shot upon. So I don't know if that's done by Seabees or if it's done by the Navy themselves, but those vessels that clear mines have to be laser focused on the process of clearing mines. They're normally not shot upon, which means we have to bring a lot of naval ships close to the coastline in order to protect those type of vessels, which the strait where you actually pass through is only about 2 miles of nautical water, just like that specific area, easily able to be mined by Iran. And historically, we just don't clear that stuff while being fired upon. So on top of all that, mine clearance is not a quick thing. For instance, in 1991, after we got done with pushing Iraq back out of Kuwait, we started clearing the actual, we actually started clearing the coast of Kuwait of Iraqi mines, of about 900 Iraqi mines. It took 51 days and we weren't being fired upon. This one is estimated that the Iranians have the capability to lay upwards of 3,000 to 6,000 mines in the Strait of Hormuz. That is going to just make it to where no one's going to want to make any type of movements. We have different type of ways that mines can be laid. They could be done by boat, they could be done by airplane, and they can also be taking in by like these. Iran says they have these new missiles that are able to deliver them. I don't know if that's true, but mines can be actuated, which is mean they actually get touched and they blow up. They can be influenced, meaning like magnetic or acoustic or pressure, and then they can be controlled, which is they're set off, such as like propellers, or Iran detonates some themselves, but they can have warheads put on them. They're super duper advanced. This is why we don't want mining to occur in that area whatsoever. To even clear out those mines is something that is a task and a half. I mean, for the vessels themselves, they have to come in, they have to locate the mines, and then we're not clearing this stuff with submarines. We're normally doing it with vessels from the top, where we're cutting more mooring lines. We're also securing the mine itself. We're ensuring that the wire doesn't sweep and touch anything else. We're trying to make sure it doesn't go off. We normally have a team that can go out and try to ensure that it doesn't go. It's just a lot of work to clear a mine. This is one mine at a time. Okay, so a lot of freaking work to do mine clearing. And it could be the earliest use of mines was in the 14th century by the Chinese. They've been doing nothing but getting more advanced ever since. The Strait of Hormuz is effectively closed because these ships don't care how much insurance we offer them. They don't care how much we say we're going to use our Navy to protect them, which there's no evidence of us doing that yet. The only vessels able to get through are any Iranian-lined, Iranian-backed vessels. They kind of have like free passage. 20% of the world's oil goes through the Strait of Hormuz. 40% of the world's oil is mined in that general area. The rest of it's taken out in different ways. And so many of these oil fields are being shut down. They're being force majeured because they can't deliver upon stuff because they're taking missiles. And this is why we're seeing prices go up in all sorts of ways. Earlier today, we saw the energy secretary, his account at least, we don't know if it was him or one of his workers, Chris Wright, posted earlier that the Navy was escorting tankers through the strait. It made our market shoot up. People were super excited. Oil commodity traders were creaming themselves. And then it was deleted. And that type of market influence is something that we regular Americans don't want. This is why I often say that I'm American first, because if we kind of would have just kind of stayed over here, a lot of folks feel like we wouldn't even have to be worrying about this shit. A lot of us feel like if we would have just been over here kicking it, we would not have to concern ourselves with this whatsoever. But unfortunately, we now find ourselves in the thick of it. And now we're starting to see more evidence with multiple news agencies saying that they have began to mine the Strait of Hormuz. And as it reports right now, that says that they've deployed a few hundred of them, but they have several different ways that they can do it. Not only do we have to worry about mines, but we have to worry about unmanned nautical vehicles that they're dropping in the water. Those things can have warheads on them and taking out different vessels. They can control the strait. I don't care how much we bark and we're really, really like making it happen on the actual, like Twitter and stuff like that. But we're still not escorting these vessels through. Let's take a look at this report that talks about them already laying mines in the area.
Energy production waterway for the entire world, essentially, shipping oil through that key strait there. Iran has apparently begun laying mines in that waterway in recent days, and that could, of course, significantly jeopardize even further global shipments of oil through that waterway, something that President Trump had said the U.S. was looking into potentially escorting boats through that waterway. But now, of course, if Iran is laying mines like we're told that they are, that could get exponentially more difficult. Now, we are told that this mining has not been extensive just yet. There have been a few dozen mines laid by the Iranians in recent days, but according to one of the sources that we spoke to, Iran still retains upwards of 80 to 90% of its small boats and mine layers.
I don't think Iran gives a fuck. I don't think they care. I've told you they have two objectives. We have three, apparently. We're going to talk about that here in a second. They want to survive, and they want to keep this current regime in power. That means if they have to burn bridges, make other Gulf states pissed at them, lay mines, freaking throw babies in waters, they're going to do everything. Okay. They're willing to do that. And it's estimated that they have between 2,000 and 6,000 mines. And they only have to mine 2 miles of water in width. So, as I mentioned before, some of these are smart mines, which have warheads on them. Some of them are influence mines. Some of them are just actuated mines. They have a lot of different options their way. This is what the president said in regards to if they're already mining, which we're seeing reports that they are. If Iran is putting any mines in the Hormuz Strait, and we have no reports of them doing so, we want them removed immediately, although we're getting a lot of reports that says that they are doing it already. Iran mining the strait more than a threat. It has been a scenario that the U.S. and allies have been the least prepared for. We just started taking out their vessels that have the capability to lay mines today. The entire Navy only has 4 minesweepers. Those minesweepers, as I mentioned earlier, are not designed to do their job and to take fire at the same time. We see this from Secretary Pete Hegseth that says that they begin eliminating some of these mines it says 10 inactive mine laying boats. So they give us some footage of us striking some boats that were seemingly like at port. I'm not really sure if this is accurate, but I don't think this is going to really hurt them. I think that this is going to, taking out these 16 vessels, is going to put a dent in something. But I really believe that they've already started laying mines, and I believe they have other ways to do it. Because they're boasting and bragging they have the ability to do this with like missiles or whatever. So a lot of times we are posting like our war progress on Twitter. I think this is the first time that we've seen this type of like real time attaboys posted on the internet. But the reason I harped on this mine thing for a good chunk is because we get so much stuff made from petroleum, made from oil and gas, plastics, cosmetics, tires, shoes, dishwashing and industrial gloves, fertilizers, paint, solvents. You know, we get a ton of fertilizer from the Gulf area. And we use that fertilizer to grow and to take out insects and stuff like that here in the United States. That can cause food prices to go up. Just put some tires on Mrs. X's vehicle. I'm glad I did so because the cost of tires may go up. Of course, we all know that we get diesel, jet fuel, and gas from petroleum. But these are the things that we get that we don't even think about, that our prices can go up if this thing continues to linger. But continuing to linger is something that President Trump says that this thing is not going to do. But as I mentioned several times before, the enemy also gets a vote. It's not as simple as, well, you know, this thing's over. So might as well go ahead and start repacking your bag. Okay. You ever been in a hotel room and it's just like, you know, 2 days from now you check out, but you're like, do I start to pack my bag today or do I wait till the night before? President Trump is giving me like, you know, go ahead, start packing your shit today, bro. We getting up out of here soon. That's the type of vibe I'm getting, but that doesn't mean that that's necessarily what's going to happen. But before we see that, you know, we see the Senator Graham, this guy, he's been doing a lot. There's no way you can say you've won this war with an Ayatollah in charge. He is a saber rattler. He is a hawk when it comes to war. He is creaming himself. I really think that Senator Graham needs to just go ahead, find him a boo, and him and his new boo that he finds on Grindr or wherever you find him will help calm him down. I think he needs like post-nut clarity because all he want to do is see men fight each other. That's what he want to see. There cannot be a successful outcome in epic fury if people like that are still in charge, he says. Bro, I just want you to represent South Carolina. I feel like you got a lot of energy, bro. I don't know. This is from Preston Stewart. He's so this is General Kane. He is the over the Joint Chiefs of Staff. We say we have 3 objectives, I guess. Destroy their missiles, annihilate the Navy, ensure target proxies no longer can destabilize the region. And then the 4th one is never obtain a nuclear weapon. But they mention Operation Midnight Hammer, it did take out the nuclear sites. They still might be able to do it. I'm not really sure if these are like clear, because when you lay out these objectives like this, right, in order for it to be a successful war, all 4 or 3 or 2.5 or however many you have to happen for it to be successful. Similar to Papa Bush, the reason he went to Congress, he wanted permission to drive the Iraqis out of Kuwait. When he did that, it was considered a success. So the Speaker of the Iranian parliament says that they are not seeking a ceasefire, but instead plan to strike back so hard that U.S. and Israel never are thinking attacking again. That is what I think we're seeing now. I think we're seeing now the probability that Iran is willing to fight dirty. They don't give a F about a war crime. And I think that that's what we can start seeing next. If they get the opportunity, if they get the room, they will start to commit them, especially if they want to use us whether it was accidental, which I think it was accidental, but us taking out that schoolhouse full of girls with a tomahawk, that would be something that they would try to use to kind of like shake and rattle and all that type of stuff. But they think that all these U.S. talks are off the tables, and they think these talks are off the tables until they do something so drastic, it just brings the U.S. back to those conversations. The president says that we're all done. He gave a press interview. I think he was really trying to calm the markets with oil. They're starting to ease sanctions against Russia. But it's a little ass backwards if we do ease sanctions against Russia so we can buy oil or so more oil can flow into the market. Because on one hand, we ease sanctions on Russia, more of their oil goes into the market, maybe prices go down. But on the other hand, it's alleged that they're giving intelligence to Iranians so that they can kill Americans. That can't be true for me. Okay, if it's true that they are giving intelligence to Iranians to kill Americans and we're going to ease sanctions, like my American first, like the hairs on my back just really stand up, bro. Like, I feel like if we were just here doing our thing, fixing our roads, we wouldn't be worrying about this shit. Well, what do I know? Maybe we need to be over there. Maybe they were 2 weeks away. And maybe I need to just stay in my place. First time stopping by, hit the subscribe button. I would love to have you a part of the battalion. If this is not your first time stopping by, well, thank you once again for watching me run my grape. For everyone else, we'll speak soon.